Looks like we're live. Just going to check the sound, then we're going to get started. Because here we go. Hey there. Okay. Everything seems to be working just fine. Good morning, friends. 6:30 a.m. I'm a bit later than usual. That's because I had some trouble dragging myself out of bed this morning, but here we are. And we are going to do some mobility, some rotator cuff work before I go off on a 30-minute jog this morning to work on that. Cardiovascular health and fitness, right? Outside of strength, conditioning, I want to be working on that as well. So that's where I'm at this morning. How are you doing? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Toby. I'm 40 years old, and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep, minding what I eat, and doing strength, conditioning, and mobility training. I also try to spend time with people I love and care about, do things that I enjoy, and generally try to live a stress-free life. Anyway, I found my running hat this morning for winter. I have a body warmer. We're going to put up some gloves, some shoes, and we're going to head out into the cool, fresh morning air for a short run. But first we have some other work to do. So let's get started with some mobility, and then we're going to move on with that. By the way, this channel is all about the way I feel, not about the way I look. And I want to feel fit and competent and capable for whatever life is going to throw at me. Like I said, I'm 40 years old. And at 40, we would want to, be able to live an active lifestyle, keep up with the demands of family life and career, and just generally be in a position where we can go out and do the things we want to do without impediments. But that's not the only thing driving me. I also want to look towards the future a little bit, and I can say from experience that our current lifestyle actually is not very conducive to health and fitness in general. And what I mean by that is that I notice that we've forgotten that we were made to move, and that we spend most of our day sitting. And on occasion, that is completely fine. But if we spend 12 hours of our day sitting, another 8 sleeping, and another 4 not even mildly active, well, we're setting ourselves up for some unhappiness down the line. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having a lazy day or a desk job, because I have a desk job, by the way, or taking a Saturday morning or a Saturday to sit and work on a hobby or a craft, if that's something that you're doing, right? Hey MLB, how's it going? Thanks for dropping by. It's good to see you this morning. I hope you're doing well. As you can see, I'm geared up and ready to go for a run after a little bit of mobility work this morning. So we're talking about movement or lack of movement in our day-to-day. So we look at how much we move in a day, how much we sit and lie in a day, because I think we all generally lie down before we go to bed to sleep. And so like we're running around and walking around while we're sleeping. So just think about the lifestyle we have. And here's the thing about our bodies. They were made for movement and to be stretched and strained. And sounds still working because I tugged my microphone there. Yeah, it looks like everything's still working. All right. And we don't do a lot of that anymore. So we're not utilizing the full potential of what our bodies are capable of. And that's a wasted opportunity because our bodies are capable of quite a bit if you actually think about it. See, if you stimulate them in the right way, they actually respond to that stimulus by adapting. Our muscles, respiratory system, brain, our bodies are inherently, well, I would call plastic, or have the property of plasticity, which means that they can be shaped, trained to perform in a certain way. But if we don't ever do that, if we don't ever challenge ourselves, then we're not using that trait of plasticity. And if we're not using that trait of plasticity, we're doing ourselves a slight disservice, because we're not giving our bodies the potential to service as well as they could. Now, different stages in life come with different needs, right? We're just getting well today. Thank you for your... Hey, congratulations. Very good. Good for you. You're very welcome. And I hope they will serve you well and in the way that you expect, and be a good addition to your general health and fitness routine. You're also planning on taking some classes or courses to learn proper technique and master the basic moves, or you have a trainer nearby or someone who can help you with that. That really helped me in the beginning. Like having some background in the gym and in deadlifts and squats, and then adapting that proper technique to kettlebells and working with kettlebell trainers throughout the year, I believe has kept me mostly injury-free on my back and legs. But that's so cool. And I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad that the stream has helped you choose something that you might enjoy or might enjoy doing for your health and fitness. It's always a pleasure to have you on the stream and to hear from you in the chat. That's great. So like I was saying, moving and using our bodies over time, we're not set in a certain way. We're not fit, let's give it a number, at skill level 50, and then for the rest of our lives we stay at that fitness level, right? We actually fluctuate and vary. So if we do absolutely nothing except get up, eat, drive to work, sit, eat, drive back home, eat, sit, sleep, and repeat that, and occasionally on the weekend stroll through the supermarket, to purchase our foods, we're not really using our body, and from that set point 50, if that was our starting point, over time, our physical ability will simply deteriorate down to 45, 40, we might still not notice a lot, 39, 38, 37, and around, level 35 or 30, we begin to notice that little things that we took for granted before are becoming harder and harder. That's strange. Why? What's going on? Well, what's been going on is you've been providing your body with so little stimulus that it's been adapting, but in the direction that is not beneficial to your long-term health, fitness, and longevity goals, right? Because you've basically told your body, well, you don't need to be ready for whatever's going to happen, because life is comfortable and good, so take it easy. No need to be able to sprint for 30 seconds. No need to be able to lift a heavy weight off the ground. There's no need for you to be able to bend this way or twist that way comfortably. Because all I do is sit and eat and sleep and stroll. But then one day, that trip to the supermarket becomes pretty hard. That stroll around the block becomes pretty hard. Lifting that bag of groceries becomes pretty hard. And that's when most people figure out that maybe they need to be doing something about their health and fitness. But it also works the other way. Let's say you start at set point 50, and you just for 30 minutes every day, you do some mobility, do a couple of push-ups, do a couple of pull-ups, and lift something heavy, swing it around for a bit, and some specific exercises to help build muscle, build strength, build conditioning. On top of that general lifestyle where you may be sitting a lot, maybe are sleeping a lot, but aren't moving a lot. Well, you're going to hover around that 50 in that way, right? Because you're doing something to stimulate your body, not particularly to make it stronger, but just for it to do the things that you wanted to be able to do at the level you're at. But then one day you get sick, or something intervenes in your life, and you're unable to keep up that schedule. And then you start to notice after a few months, hey, all the things that I used to be able to do, getting a bit harder. Whatever conditioning and strength I had, slowly fading. It's no good. Why is that? Well, we hovered around set point 50, and we kept ourselves capable and able, but we didn't really build more capacity than maybe we needed by doing some specific kinds of training. So the goal is maybe to be a bit fitter and a bit leaner and a bit stronger and a bit healthier than we need to be. So when push comes to shove, something happens and we deteriorate from that little bit of extra down to the baseline of 50, and we can work our way back up again. I would like to get a trainer. All right, well, there are some good programs online that give you good advice, also on YouTube, right, to help you get started. And I think the trainer specifically for the techniques, right, it's going to be very helpful, but also watching online tutorials on kettlebell technique is very helpful. And just being careful at the beginning. You know, like, I basically saw like a kettlebell trainer like 3 or 4 times last year. So it wasn't like a weekly investment of my money. But maybe just once or twice, just to go through the fundamental techniques and make sure that we're hinging properly, squatting properly, using our neck and back properly, to prevent injury as we embark on a kettlebell journey. I think it's beneficial. Do you have any idea how you're going to start? What kind of program you're going to be doing? I know I have a basic foundational program on my channel. I know Mark Wildman has an entire series on kettlebells, from deadlift on to more advanced movements. And I think we're starting out, the first 10 videos in that series are incredibly helpful. I know Brittany van Schavendijk has a whole series, also very useful, a very good trainer, gives good instruction also on video. I mean, you can always follow along here and ask me, but it's a bit hard always to give someone the right coaching cues when you can't see them. All right, so, you know, speaking about moving frequently and moving well, so there we have this ambition to just move slightly more and slightly better than we need to be for the demands of the day, just to be slightly stronger than we need to be to build that extra strength reserve. Then we need to build a training program that's geared towards that, right? So we need to look at what we need to do in order to build that conditioning, build that mobility, build that strength. And here's the thing that we tend to forget when we embark on a journey like this, is that it's the mix of those three that's going to keep us healthy. And I heard on a podcast yesterday that it's probably cardiovascular health that is one of the better predictors for longevity and health. So, figuring out a good mix of improving our conditioning, meaning that we can dash up a flight of stairs or sprint for 30 seconds or a minute or walk at a brisk pace for 30 minutes without going out of breath. And those are little things that we probably want to be mindful of. Building strength, challenging those muscles so that we have that extra strength, ability to lift things, move things around, basically deal with what life might throw at us. I don't think there are a lot of occasions where we're lifting something a lot heavier than 20, 25 kilos, 40, 50 pounds. So if you build the ability to move that kind of weight around comfortably, I think you're already in quite a good spot, right? For me, that's usually the family suitcases when we go on holidays, if that makes sense, right? We travel, we take suitcases, and suitcases will usually weigh around 25 kilo. All right, so do that, 50 kilos. All right, I can lift 50 kilos off the ground. I can deadlift that. Not an issue. Good. That's more or less all the capacity I need. I've got 2 kids. One weighs about 13 kilos, 14 maybe now. The other one's near 20. I can press them overhead with one hand. They love it. It's fun. We have fun, right? That's what we can do. All right. I can also keep up with them on the judo mat, right? When they go to sports and activities. So we have all of that going on as well. So I'm just saying, there are a lot of different reasons to want to have that baseline strength. The last thing I would want is that I'm playing with my kids and we have to stop because I make a wrong move, because you know how that goes, right? You're playing, you're moving, you're twisting, but because your structure isn't right, because you're not used to moving on to some rotator cuff work, by the way, fixing those shoulders of mine. Moving poorly, what happens is we get injured. Now, we can always get injured. And I know we all have structural weaknesses, weak points. I was just starting to talk about that, right? We all have something in our bodies that is not as strong as another part. That's also one of the reasons why I liked kettlebells. It's because you work one side of your body and then the other side of your body. And you notice that you start to fix some slight imbalances. Oh, there's still a whole bunch of mobility I need to do. There's still some hip mobility. And some Cossack squats that I skipped. Sorry about that. I'll incorporate those in a moment. So, you work with a kettlebell. You work one side of your body, you work the other side of your body. You notice that one side techniques may become a bit easier. It's easier to lift a heavier weight. And the other side is a bit weaker. That's why we always train to the capacity of the weakest side to allow it for time to catch up and come to terms with the rest of the body. There we go. Hip mobility. Sorry about that. And we work to make our general form and structure stronger and to make those weaknesses stable. And then the chances of us actually suffering an injury diminish. And I know there are more fun things to do, like catching up on the Netflix show or the Prime show everyone's talking about, or going out for drinks with friends. I get it. But if you show up an hour later for those drinks because you prioritize moving, staying healthy, maybe you could even make it an activity with friends. There are classes and groups where you can work out together so you don't miss out on the time, but you're actually all investing in each other's health and keeping each other accountable. There's also an option. Things you could do together. So just think about that as you're going on this journey, right? That the key insight here is we don't move because the lifestyle and the life and the way of living that we've developed runs counter to all the things our bodies were made to do. Our bodies were made to move and to be used, and they're adaptable to the challenges that we put before them. Now, from my own personal experience, right, having had a neck herniation last year and spending the year trying to fix my left shoulder and now fixing my right shoulder and rotator cuff, I think it's also important and fair to just state and remember that there's always a risk of injury. But that is completely fine. There's a risk of injury when we work out. there's a risk of injury when we don't work out. The thing is, the main benefit of targeted exercise is that we're building that strength, that conditioning, and that mobility to help us get to that point where we are fit, where we are healthy, where we can do the things that we want to do in life without fear of injury or getting hurt. And simply being able to keep up. So I'll give you another example. This last summer we went to the mountains for 2 weeks. That was amazing. So I asked my sons, my wife, where do you want to go on holidays this year? What shall we plan? The boys unanimously started shouting, mountains, mountains. So we're going back to the mountains. We're going to be hiking every day. How do you think I'm going to be able to hike through the mountains 10, 15 kilometers every day with one of my children in one of those carrier backpacks? The oldest one might be able to walk already on his own. The youngest one won't be able to go for that many stretches, all right? But it will be quite an adventure for both of them. How do I expect myself to keep up with a holiday like that if I'm not in good shape, working condition? And a holiday like that is a mix of long-form endurance, right? Because we're going to be walking a lot, so we're going to be walking uphill and downhill and around the bend and over the bend. So there are going to be different cardiovascular challenges that I'll be facing. We need to carry backpacks, we'll need to lift the kids, we'll need to keep them safe because they tend to want to look over the edge of the path. So we need to make sure that we're fit and healthy and capable for that. So with that in mind, being generally fit and healthy is fine, I think. It's going to be all right. But as a bit of extra, I'm going to have to build that cardiovascular capacity to walk up and down those mountains. We're going to have to build that interval capacity, that sudden burst of energy for when we have a very steep incline that we need to walk up. We need to build the capacity to carry 15, 20, 30 kilos as someone just woke up and is walking out of the bedroom. So I think that heralds the end of the stream. Friends, thanks for dropping by, for saying hi. Mel B, congrats on purchasing the kettlebells. Keep me posted on the journey, on how it goes. If you find a trainer or not, let me know. I'll link in a comment here the 2 channels I talked about that have good tutorials that I know of. There are a lot of good tutorials online, but just to help you out, and I'll tag you in that. So you have a different starting point, some reference point, and it's also where I learned most of my kettlebell techniques. All right, Remember, friends, the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I will see you tomorrow.